let's keep this going. Let's go to little Anthony Fantano clip. Melonhead himself, the needle drop, talking about Katy Perry's fall off. Let's go.
And hello, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well. We need to talk about the slow motion immolation of one of the most popular and successful chart-topping pop stars of all time, that is Miss Katy Perry. Since breaking through in the late
2000s,
Katy Perry has remained for quite a while one of the strongest commercial forces in all of mainstream pop music. And on records like Teenage Dream as well as Prism, performed some of the biggest radio pop hits of the 2010s. And it's not just about the music, because in many ways Katy Perry has remained a cultural force for years as well. The Super Bowl performance that everybody is memed to high heaven. I'm setting this up to show
the absolute best part of Katy Perry's Super Bowl performance was Missy Elliott.
That it's been really strange to watch her career suddenly undergo this very sudden and also quiet downturn. It's as if she's just...
Has it been quiet, or is it a loud death? Because her new music is landing like an absolute boulder, an absolute dud that I hear absolutely nobody talking about.
It's kind of fading away into the background, but considering like how big of a place she had in pop music to begin with, like that process shouldn't be as quiet and as sad as it's proving to be, because not only commercially and artistically was her last full-length LP in 2020 Smile a complete and utter flop, but also with this upcoming album and everything she has been rolling out in promotion for it, 143, she is not projecting much of a comeback from that project, as many naysayers and even fans of Miss Perry have pointed out and taken issue with the fact that on this project she is working with none other than Dr. Luke, who, given allegations that were leveled against him by Kesha, is kind of a pariah in the music industry in some pockets, in some circles, not all. Kesha herself took to the internet to have a bit of a laugh at the fact that not only is Katy Perry working with Dr. Luke on this new record, but the first single, the big teaser to get us, get our mouths watering for this album, was titled Woman's World, which...
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
I mean, the irony cannot be lost that Katy Perry is doing a song called In a Woman's World, which I have heard is speaking about women power, or womanhood, or praising women all manner. And the fact that she dropped this along with one Dr. Luke, who has had a real sketchy back history or history with women in general in music, is irony not to be overlooked, not missed on me, because how out of touch can you be to put out a song with Dr. Luke, who, if you are to believe even an iota of the many allegations that have been brought up against him, has nothing to do with feminism or womanhood or women empowerment. And that's the way you're going to go with this, is to think that this would be an okay look, or people weren't going to say something about this, really shows how out of touch she really is with kind of the modern stage or culture or landscape of music these days.
I mean, the irony, you can't help but laugh, but really the true tragedy of this track is just how mediocre and boring it is. It's just this really straightforward bit of somewhat retro futuristic electropop with throbbing bass synths and vocals that, for Perry, sound so touched up they're almost inhuman. Not to mention that the lyrics of the song represent this kind of white commercialized brand of feminism that is so profoundly pandering that it's disgusting.
So now she's saying it's satire. I don't know what's worse than putting out a song called Woman's World, produced by Dr. Luke, and like having it be this absolutely like garbage commercial-esque surface level representation of like womanhood and woman empowerment. And then I don't know if we're to do that, or then to do that and then come out and get backlash and say it was just satire. That was like it's just a prank, bro. Like, that's literally what she just did. She just pulled it's just a prank with her own song. Like, are you kidding me? Like, really? You just said it's just a prank. It's your own song that you promoted, that you shot a video for, that took months, maybe even years to bring to completion and roll out. And now you're saying it's just a prank. It's just satire. Like, no wonder why people are shitting on this. Absolutely out of touch.
The track fell off the charts pretty quickly, not to mention the promotional art that has been teasing toward the record, as well as one single cover art piece that looked like she was ripping off Arca. Yeah, none of it looks good. So now, maybe in hopes of actually salvaging things on some level, Perry has seen fit to release another single.
Absolutely ridiculous that she just pulled It's Just a Prank on her own song. If you have to come out and say your song is satire to backlash, you are the only one in on that joke. And I cannot think of a worse rollout for a song than having to come out and say your own song is satire or it's just a joke.
Another teaser to this next album. That would be the song Lifetimes, and I don't know, I just don't see how it could possibly be worse than Woman's World. I mean, fingers crossed that it's a bit better just for my sake, because I gotta listen to it. But with one disappointment and L after the next in the promotion of this new album, Katy Perry really needs something that is going to pull anticipation for this record up a little bit. So Katy Perry, Lifetimes, let's see what it's got. Jesus, what? Are you kidding me? What is this? This just sounds so plain and dated. And why is Katy Perry even going out of her way to, like, work with someone like Dr. Luke or anybody involved in this track? Because miraculously there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different people involved in the creation of this song that are credited right here on Apple Music. I mean, this sounds like something one person could have made in an afternoon. This takes 8 people. Like, the tune is basic. The lyrics are uninspired. You're gonna love me for lifetimes. Oh, in whatever time period or dimension that we're like both inhabiting or whatever. I know you feel it. Can you believe it? I'm gonna love you till the end, and then repeat it. You know, to be completely honest, as obnoxious and as just like self-centered a lot of the content on the Tortured Poets department was earlier this year, it was deeper and more personal than what Katy Perry.
Mind you, at one point in time, Katy Perry was a much bigger artist than Taylor Swift. Mind you.
Is doing right now on this. And while Katy's music doesn't necessarily have a big reputation for being like, you know, very revealing or super duper introspective, I feel like we could be scratching down to a depth that's just a little bit deeper than I'm gonna love you for life, for life, for life, for life, for life, which of course is being delivered by vocals that once more are so touched up and so pitched and so airbrushed that it doesn't even really sound like Katy Perry's voice. Like, really anybody could be singing this with these effects on the track. And then on top of that, the production is just about the most plain and flavorless piece of house and dance pop that I think I've heard all year. I mean, I don't know if I could say this track is worse than Woman's World per se, because again, the pandering on that song really did suck and make it horribly annoying. But this song is no more interesting than that one was, or it's hitting a...
I've not heard Lifetimes, and I probably won't. I mean, we might react to it, who knows? But like, if you have, is it as bad as he's saying?
Similar level of just painfully basic that makes it really just like borderline offensive. And what's kind of shocking and a shame is that you have to assume on some level that these tracks, Katy and her team are really trying to put like their best feet forward in the promotion of this album. Like, if this is potentially the best of what the record has to offer, imagine what the rest of it must sound like. Like, do things somehow get more...
Exactly. If these are the singles, if these are the leads to your new project, this is your big return to the scene, and this is like what's supposed to get people excited, and if it's this shit, ooh, ain't looking good.
Basic and one-dimensional and formulaic than this? Because if so, I mean, this album is going to be a bit of a shock. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this song and the weird sudden spiral of Katy Perry's career that we're currently witnessing. But I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't really know if we can attribute it to anything more than Katy Perry is just really unable at this point to stop dropping mid. 143 is mid. Smile was painfully mid, and Witness, while it did have its experimental moments here and there, was mostly a mixed bag. So yeah, unfortunately, unless this song lands on some dressing room playlists real fast, I'm not seeing it garnering a whole lot of plays over the next week. And I think...
I mean, again, I wouldn't even say this is a slow spiral of death for Katy Perry in her career. I think this is just her driving off a cliff. Like, at one point, she was the girl. She was the pop star. She was the icon in pop music. And like, as one person noted in the comments, Katy Perry was the second person in history to have 5 Billboard Hot 100 #1 songs on a single album. That's how big she was. She could not miss. She could not do no wrong. But that was back in the 2010s. So let's just be generous and say like 10 or so years ago. In music terms, that might as well be a century. And like, you can lose touch with the scene and what's popular and just the culture and the feel of music in the blink of an eye. And the fact that she went to, was it American Idol or whatever, and was a judge for that long, I just thought that was the sign. She was done with her career. She was done with making music. She was in a retirement stage, and she was just trying to cash in on the cachet that she had built up with the songs that she had. I thought that was a sign. So I'm not really surprised to see now, coming off of an American Idol run, that people don't care. Because immediately once you become kind of like American Idol judge, whatever, especially in pop music, your new audience is middle-aged women and old people. Like, that's it. The youth no longer care. And like, for her to even try to come back out, and then for her to come back out and not only come back out and work with Dr. Luke of all people, and like, especially with all the negativity surrounding her, and still thinking that's a good idea, and then to come out with music that's not even worth that collaboration, just shows how out of touch with the culture and with the scene of music and like the whole landscape of it is now. And quite frankly, pop music has just passed her by. Like, it's just gotten so much more interesting, more alternative, more experimental. It's no longer that mainstream top 40 poppy music that you would expect. You got Doja Cats, you got SZAs, you got Billie Eilish doing different things in pop music than she's ever done or ever seemingly been capable of. She had her moment, and it was a moment, but that's it. So I don't even think her fall off needs to be studied. It was almost expected. But like, this is bad. This is bad. Like the music she's putting out is bad. Her rollout is bad. Her judgment is bad. Everything about this in her career at this point is just bad. And for somebody who at one point was bigger than Taylor Swift and was the biggest pop artist out there, even got a Super Bowl. It's crazy. This was a fall off indeed. An absolute fall off.